Coming up on the Q30 Newscast, students are shaving their head, all for a great cause. Find out what they're raising money for at one of the Student Programming Board's annual events.
As violence on school campuses are on the rise, Quinnipiac Public Safety is taking extra measures to make sure the university community is aware and prepared.
Plus, rumors have been circulating that the Sleeping Giant will be opening soon. We'll give the latest on the popular QU's hotspot.
All that and more coming up on the Q30 Newscast. Good evening and welcome to the Q30 Newscast. I'm Chris Stacy.
And I'm Kayla Heavey.
On Instagram today, QU Barstool posted a picture of what appeared to be a beetle in the same container as a sandwich from Aubon Payne Express in CCE. Q30 reached out to Charles Couture, the district manager of Chartwell's here at Quinnipiac, and we have not heard back. This isn't the first time Chartwell's at Quinnipiac has had a run-in with bugs in food, which has also been shown on the QU Barstool Instagram. Quinnipiac Dining is now putting a paid sticker on all drinks purchased in QU dining facilities. The orange stickers are put on the bottle by a cashier once it has been purchased, and the change began yesterday. Q30 reached out to resident district manager of Quinnipiac Dining, Chuck Couture, but he did not respond to our request for comment.
There has been no real update or plan announced yet for a common hour that was proposed last semester. The common hour would be an hour during each day of the week where no classes would be held. The time could be used for student organizations to meet or for students to meet with faculty or staff. Currently, the only time where all students are available is 9:15 p.m. after classes end for the day. Watch out, Bobcats, there's an email scam being sent out pretending to be Greg Amodio and other senior university leaders. The email pretends to be him, President Judy Olian, Dean Copin, and others. The scammer tried to trick you into purchasing gift cards and emailing pictures of the gift cards to the scammer. Just a reminder, emails from Quinnipiac employees and offices will always be sent from an @quinnipiac.edu address and will include a signature, including an email that you can verify if in doubt. The Student Programming Board held their annual St. Baldricks event Monday night.
The goal is to raise awareness and money for childhood cancer. Q30's Callie Keys has more.
Brave the shave. That's something that Charlotte Gargiulo did for the third time this Monday. This Quinnipiac junior looks forward to St. Baldricks each year.
It's just been something that I've always loved to do just because my hair grows back. Not everyone's hair grows back. Like, you know, people who are battling cancer, they're the ones who are brave, not me. I do it because I love it.
Cancer has touched Gargiulo's life in many ways. At St. Baldricks, she tries to bring awareness to all cancers.
There's a girl in my town that I went to high school with who was a year older than us, or a year ahead of me anyway, and she battled terminal brain cancer. It was a brain tumor, and they couldn't operate on it. It's inoperable. And so through that, like, the whole community was like, you could feel the effect on it, good or bad. There was a kid in my grade who was dating her at the time. I don't know if you guys have heard, but like Nina Poeta, it was a big thing. It was like keep calm and Nina strong. And it was just a way to really try and raise money and awareness for her and the family because of the expenses that comes along with having this illness.
You can find Nina Poeta on the St. Baldricks website listed as an honored kid.
I always put her on the website when they say to sign up and to pick people. She's always one of the first people I pick.
At this year's St. Baldricks, about $3,241 were raised for childhood cancer, and 7 students went bald for the cause.
It is a huge deal, shaving your head, but I think that if you compare it to the struggle that some of these kids are going through, what is shaving my head? It means nothing.
As for next year, Gargiulo's not positive she'll be able to shave her head, as she'll be a bridesmaid in her friend's wedding only months later. But if she does participate, she intends to make a big impact one last time.
I want to really raise like $1,000 at most next year. That'd be really cool to go out with a bang, and if I'm able to do it.
For Q30 News, Callie Keys.
As the end of the spring semester is in sight, students that will be taking advantage of on-campus housing are starting to pick where they will live in the fall. There are some housing changes for next year on the Mount Carmel campus. Larson Residence Hall will become sophomore housing, Founders will become freshman residence hall, and graduate students will be living on York Hill campus. The housing selection process is taking place this week in order of students' lottery numbers that were randomly assigned. After nearly 2 years on campus, Starbucks has only grown in popularity. And although students love Starbucks coffee, they hate the lines and the long wait times. The QU Dining is in the process of testing a way to benefit students. Charles Couture, resident district manager of QU Dining, says, quote, "We hope to beta test the Starbucks app. The app will allow students to place orders online. The app was created to reduce wait time," end quote.
Chief of Safety Edgar Rodriguez is urging the Quinnipiac community to review the emergency protocol and communications plan.
We do have a protocol in place, and God forbid, we run into an incident on campus. We want people to be well aware of that protocol, and they need to know what to do in case we have an incident on campus.
The university has raised their concern about safety and preparedness at the university in case of an emergency. In a press release sent to members of the QU community, Rodriguez says that these events are unpredictable, but it's important that we do everything possible to prevent them and be prepared if such events occur. Students, faculty, and staff are encouraged to review the protocol. Chief Rodriguez said in a shelter-in-place drill will be coming in the few weeks. The Hamden Police Department is cracking down on distracted driving. They are partnering with 2 other highway safety offices between April 2nd and 30th for the national You Drive, You Text, You Pay campaign. Plus, you might not even know when the police are notified about you texting and driving.
We'll set up a spotter. That's the type of enforcement. We'll have one guy in plain clothes, so people don't recognize that he's an officer, and we'll have other officers in uniform in patrol cars further down the road, and the spotter will call in the violators to us, and we'll pull them over and issue citation.
Their goal is to urge drivers to stay off the phone when behind the wheel. If it is necessary to talk on the phone or text, police say to park your vehicle in a safe location. In August of 2018, Hamden Police participated in a similar campaign to prevent distracted driving. According to the New Haven Register, in a month of August, they issued 635 tickets for cell phone use behind the wheel.
The Quinnipiac Physician Assistant Program has dropped in the U.S. rankings from 5th to 15th. Dennis Brown, the program director and department chair of the Physician Assistant Studies, does not look at this as a big fall. He said in a statement to Q30 News, quote, "The rankings is highly reflective of our commitment to educating high-quality physician assistants. Please do not get discouraged about the changes in the rankings. We are still in the top 6% of over 239 accredited programs nationally, and top ranked in Connecticut and New England," end quote. There is a new addition to the School of Communications. This is the podcasting studio located right across from the Equipment Center in the School of Communications. Before the transition, the area was used as an editing suite for students. The studio includes 2 microphones along with 2 chairs and an audio board.
A student government association is being piloted in the Commons Resident Hall. Free condoms are now available to students in the laundry rooms. SGA says if the program goes well, there is hope to implement this in other freshman dorms around campus. A rise in STIs and STDs on college campuses were cited as reasons for the program. Condoms are also available in the Health Center on Mount Carmel campus and on York Hill campus. And Quinnipiac offers many opportunities for students to get involved on campus. Kay Pattyfote has more on student involvement.
There is always something to do here at Quinnipiac University. To name a few, you can be an RA, volunteer with community service, and play basketball with friends. The list goes on. There are 146 recognized student-run organizations on campus, and most students participate in at least one of those organizations. One event on campus that brings all students and staff together is the Big Event. The Big Event is a one-day student-run service project. Last year, 1,600 students participated, and Alyssa hopes this number continues to increase.
A lot of freshmen join just because we get a lot of activity from the involvement fair, and then we also go to all the FYS classes. So we have a lot of freshmen come in and because they're interested to see what it is, so they do it their first year.
The freshmen on campus are not the only ones involved.
Pretty good mixture of all the class years. I would say there are generally more current freshmen and sophomores who are applying than current juniors.
Being an RA and joining the big event are two examples of getting involved here at Quinnipiac, especially for freshmen. In the upcoming school year, students can expect 2 involvement fairs, one in the fall and one in the spring. Hopefully with this new addition, even more students will be involved on campus. Kay Pattyfoot for Q30 News.
Still to come on the Q30 Newscast, it's Greek Week on campus, and we have all the events that are taking place this week, and the big event is just around the corner.
And Kelly Ryan is here and has all the details on the latest accusations against former Vice President Joe Biden and more in this week's Political News Update. The Sleeping Giant Park Association shut down all rumors of the popular hiking spot reopening sooner than planned.
On social media, the association said there's still no official date on the reopening. Dylan Abad has more.
Sleeping Giant State Park, located on 200 Mount Carmel Avenue in Hamden, Connecticut, has been closed since a tornado struck the area back in May of 2018. Park rangers have been hard at work clearing paths and removing debris. The park was originally scheduled to reopen in late 2018, but harsh weather conditions made it difficult to work throughout the winter. Park rangers cleared large trees and blasted rocks to clear up any hazardous trails.
We're not making any more new trails. The trails have been cleared, and then we're just fixing the existing tower trail. It'll look a little different. It'll be a little wider.
The park has remained closed due to concerns of sliding mud. Rangers have since seeded the area but are waiting on the grass to grow. Rumors have been circulating that the park would reopen sometime in April, but rangers are now hopeful for a Memorial Day opening.
Because all of our parks get busy on Memorial Day weekend, that's like our unofficial opening day. But if you go past that, it's probably, if they wanted to get the grass established more, they'd probably wait a month.
The park is also considering some new additions.
They want to put a visitor center in, that was discussed, and then it would be nice to have another maintenance storage building for us.
While hiking and climbing enthusiasts can look forward to the park's reopening currently set for Memorial Day, park rangers believe the park will actually open no later than July. However, one point about the park remains very clear.
They can stay out of it. I mean, I don't want to be rude, but just stay out of the park. Let us do what we need to do so we can open it. Because I don't, if the grass starts coming up and people just walk across and start trampling it, it's not going to help.
Dylan Abad, Q30 News.
Hamden parents have started a petition against adding a police officer in the elementary schools. Mayor Kurt Lang told Eyewitness 3 that the officers will be accountable for more than just safety. He said, quote, for mentoring, guidance, providing a role model, also providing police services when needed, end quote. But some Hamden parents believe that in elementary schools is not an appropriate place for police officers. Others say that this will add protection for the school resource officer program will. Hamden police officers have been on a rotating basis.
It's job and internship season, and Matt Fortin has all the details on how undergraduate students can prepare.
Right now my focus is on at least getting an interview.
Priel Shaw finds herself in the same position many seniors do before graduation.
And it's beyond stressful.
Stressed out and seeking employment.
This is what my resume looks like right now.
She's a marketing major from Connecticut who says she applies to anywhere from 50 to 100 jobs every single week.
Like many students, I've got student loans to pay back.
We asked Lila Carney, Dean of Career Development for Quinnipiac School of Communications, what she would say to Priel and any other student facing the same situation.
Statistically speaking, 6 months after graduation, she's very likely to have a job.
Lila has been working with students to find jobs for nearly 2 years now and says the school offers plenty of resources to help with the job search.
We have an advisory board. They have told us they will help us get our students' materials noticed.
Another big help, she says, is one-on-one counseling, somewhere students can go over things like cover letters.
Cover letter that is customized, that the student has written for the specific position, goes a long way.
A detailed resume is something Lila says can also go a long way.
Looking at what they're doing with an eye of how can I make this look professional?
Her final tip, make sure your online presence is perfect.
Use LinkedIn, get your LinkedIn profile in tip-top shape, and I think you'll be in good shape for the summer.
Lila also recommends that students attend the career fairs organized by the university to get in touch with potential employers. The next one is open for all communications majors and is happening here at the CCE from 10 to 2 on Friday. Reporting in Hamden, Matt Fortin, Q30 News.
Quinnipiac School of Communications held their second annual Mountain Film Festival earlier this evening in the Mount Carmel Auditorium. Mountain Film is known for using the power of film, art, and ideas to inspire audiences to create a better world. The festival was hosted by Mountain Film's Marissa Matties. She described the motivation and challenges of each film and gave some insight into what it took to make them. This week is Greek Week for the fraternities and sororities at Quinnipiac. Each sorority and fraternity were paired together and given a music genre to present. There was trivia throughout the day on Monday. The Greek God and Goddess competition took place last night. A series of events made up the Greek Olympics today, and a lip sync battle will take place tomorrow night. The teams are battling to have the most points by the end of the week to win Greek Week.
Quinnipiac's big event is this Saturday. The student-run Day of Service sends Quinnipiac students and faculty and alumni all around the Hamden and Greater New Haven area to participate in community service. The big event helps over 100 nonprofit organizations across Connecticut. Last year's big event was the biggest yet, with about 1,800 students lending a helping hand throughout the day.
WQAQ is hosting its annual Spring Fest concert this Saturday. This year, the organization is hosting the band Real Big Fish with headline Eslora Invictus. The event will take place from 7 p.m. to 11 p.m. in the Burt Kahn Court, and it's free for Quinnipiac students with a Q card. If you want to bring someone who doesn't go to the university, you can order tickets online for $10 or $15 at the door.
This week in politics, accusations were brought up against Joe Biden and disaster relief bills were proposed in the Senate.
Yes, and we have Kelly Ryan here to discuss these stories further. Kelly?
Thanks, guys. Former Vice President Joe Biden is making headlines this week. Multiple women have said Biden touched them inappropriately. Former congressional aide Amy Lapos from Connecticut told the Hartford Courant on Monday that Biden reached for her face and rubbed noses with her during a fundraiser in Greenwich in 2019. Lapos said she doesn't want Biden to run for president in the 2020 election and that objectifying women is not okay. Former Nevada Assemblywoman Lucy Flores also came forward this week saying Biden came up to her from behind, smelled her hair, and kissed her at an event in 2014. Biden said in a statement he does shake people's hands, hug them, and express affection, but he never believed he acted inappropriately. Biden has yet to announce his presidential run. Almost 3 years after the Pulse nightclub shooting in Florida, over 300 people will join together at a two-day conference in Tallahassee called Survivor Speak. They will be advocating for more funding for victim services and will push lawmakers to make changes in their community. Brian Reagan survived the Pulse shooting, and he will be attending the conference with other survivors.
Give them a voice to let their government officials know, what we need and what we'd like to see happen for our future.
Reagan and other survivors are hoping for change as they continue to heal. Two competing disaster relief bills did not advance in the Senate on Monday. In a funding fight for Puerto Rico, the country that was ravaged by a hurricane, the Senate voted down the Republican proposal that Democrats said did not give enough aid. The second bill failed after being passed in the Democratic-controlled House a few months ago. Republicans failed it for not providing relief to the Midwest after recent flooding. Lawmakers are now back to square one, drafting a proposal to help Puerto Rico that will pass. That's all for this week's news from the political world. Chris and Kayla, back to you.
Thanks, Kelly. It is time for a break, but when we come back, John Cerati is here with his full 7-day forecast, as it looks like spring might be here to stay in New England.
And Eric Kerr will join the show for his national news update with the latest on the safety of riding in an Uber and more. Stay with us.
And today in Hamden, it felt a lot like spring for once here. It was high as 62. However, with the rain on Friday, high of 42, we'll see some changes to your plans possibly coming up this weekend. And here we go with Saturday. We got 48 degrees, 62 with clouds. The rest of the week. And yeah, that's it and more coming up with weather.
It seems like there's weather all over the place. It's warm, it's cold, it's spring in New England.
Seems he can't make up his mind right now.
Exactly. Let's just get the warm weather back.
Well, now Eric Kerr is with us for this week's National News Update.
Unfortunate news leaves people everywhere questioning the safety of taking Uber rides. A 21-year-old student from the University of South Carolina, Samantha Josephson, was killed after entering a car she thought was her Uber ride home last Friday night. Because of the incident, South Carolina Representative Seth Rose introduced a bill to the South Carolina legislature requiring Uber and Lyft drivers in the state to display an illuminated sign on their vehicle window. Reports state she mistakenly got into the car of a 24-year-old Nathaniel Rowland instead of her Uber ride back to the South Carolina campus. Rowland was quickly arrested the next day and charged with accusations of murder and kidnapping. The United States government is currently seeking its next State Department spokesperson. Former Fox News contributor Morgan Ortagus sits at the top of the candidate list. However, when President Donald Trump ran in the 2016 Republican presidential primaries, Ortagus was someone who repeatedly criticized Trump. One case which displeased Ortagus the most was her view on Trump's, quote, isolationist foreign policy approach and his blasted behavior she qualified as disgusting, end quote. Despite becoming a Trump supporter after the election, Ortagus is still not a fan of Trump's ideas towards foreign affairs. Having her own extensive knowledge in foreign policy, this gives Ortagus a unique stance which former spokesperson Heather Norrett was not able to provide. Lori Lightfoot was elected to be the first ever African-American woman to become mayor of Chicago. She won the election against another African-American woman, Toni Preckwinkle. Lightfoot is thinking beyond the history surrounding the election's result, as she believes she can make a major movement of positive change for all people in Chicago. She said, quote, now we're going to take the next steps together. Together we can and will finally put the interests of our people, all of our people, against the interests of a powerful few, end quote. That's all for the national news this week. Back to you.
It is time for one more break, but when we return, Brian Schwartz is in studio to talk about the men's hockey team and the NCAA tournament.
And we have a Quinnipiac student who is planning a cross-country trip, but it's not the trip you might expect. Stay with us.
As we transition into the spring sports, Brian Schwartz has all the details on the Bobcat sports. Brian?
All right, guys, NCAA tournament time for Quinnipiac men's ice hockey. After a win Saturday night over Arizona State, Rand Pecknold's Bobcats took on the Midwest region's top seed, the Minnesota Duluth Bulldogs. These two teams consistently in national title contention. 4 of the last 6 years, one of these programs has been in the national title game. Obviously, Quinnipiac still without the big one. Let's see how it went on Sunday. Winner goes to the Frozen Four, second period. It's Peter Krieger from Minnesota Duluth, top shelf, 1-0 Bulldogs. Third period now, Jade Miller tossed it off to Kobe Roth. Minnesota Duluth up 2-0. Later in the third, Quinnipiac wouldn't go away quietly. The Bobcats on the advantage. Craig Martin puts them on the board 2-1, but it wouldn't be enough. Minnesota Duluth would then score an empty netter and clinch a spot in the 2019 Frozen Four. Quinnipiac's season is over in the Elite Eight. Let's hear from head coach Rand Pecknold and captain Chase Chris.
Disappointing for us to have our season end, but really proud of the effort that we had with this year. You know, last year was our first losing season in 20 years, and I think we got the program back on track this year with, you know, a trip to the Elite Eight and 26 wins.
I had a fantastic 4 years, something I wouldn't trade for the world. Really lucky to be able to play with a lot of former teammates that have mentored me, and then tried to do my job this year to mentor some of the younger guys. So I think for me it was just leaving a mark on this program.
And with hockey season coming to a close, it's spring sports from here on out at Quinnipiac. Story of last week, as reported by Q30 Sports, Quinnipiac women's basketball star Jen Fay has joined the Bobcats softball team. Fay did not appear in any game for Quinnipiac over the weekend, but she has been practicing with the team. And as for the team itself, 6 wins in a row, 4 in a row to start MAC play. Quinnipiac will head to Monmouth and Fairfield this weekend for 2 doubleheaders. And success definitely runs in the spring sports family at Quinnipiac. Bobcats baseball and men's lacrosse teams are also both undefeated to start their seasons. Quinnipiac baseball swept Niagara over the weekend, and Quinnipiac men's lax beat Siena 13-10 on Saturday. And finally, the rewards don't stop for Quinnipiac's Cam Young. The Bobcats basketball sensation received AP All-America honorable mention recognition for his outstanding season. He's the first Quinnipiac player ever to get that award. Pretty cool stuff, guys. Quinnipiac is on the map on the sports scene.
Before we go, there is a Quinnipiac student in Pi Kappa Phi that is biking across America for his fraternity's philanthropy.
Yes, Chris McDaniel spoke to Q30 about the event he's participating in called the Journey of Hope.
For the first time ever, Q30 will be live streaming this year's Student Government Association Executive Board debates.
Be sure to tune in on q30tv.com/debates 2019 this Monday at 9:15 p.m. to watch the candidates answer questions and to share their platforms for SGA for the 2019-2020 school year.
That is all the time we have on tonight's Q30 Newscast. Follow us on all social media at Q30 News to stay up to date on everything that is happening on and off campus.
We'll be back next Wednesday for another episode bringing you the latest news. For Kayla Heavey and everyone behind the scenes, I'm Chris Stacy. Good night, Quinnipiac.